Deputy Kenny.
Yeah, thank you, Cancorla, and thank you for the opportunity to raise this matter. The inordinate delay in the handing over of 48 apartment units at Clare Village, Malahide Road, Dublin 17, from NAMA to Tua Housing for allocation by Dublin City Council to families on the Dublin City Council homeless list. And as we know, Cancorla, there is a housing crisis in the country, and there is a serious homelessness problem which arises going back to the collapse of the property market during the fact that building has stopped. And the government, in a way, to address that, have instructed NAMA to make available vacant units that are under the administration of NAMA, and units that were built by builders who themselves went into liquidation or went out of business, and their units were lying idle. And the point I'm making here is that in Clare Village, Malahide Road, we have such a case. I have about half a dozen homeless families in my constituency who come to me on a regular basis. At the beginning of January of this year, they were informed through Dublin City Council that they were going to be selected for the allocation of these particular units. They had been homeless for some time before that, but they got some hope. And the expectation was that within a short time they would be housed. And I have a number of cases here of the ongoing delays. Now, I must say, Dublin City Council's homeless section, I am full of praise for them, because they have a difficult job to do, and they do it properly and professionally. And just to take one particular case of that number, a family who in January were told, yes, you will be allocated one of these units, and that we expect that sometime towards the end of March you will be in your new accommodation. This family had previously been in a refuge accommodation, and then they were moved into other temporary accommodation. They've been moving around, and they're not the only ones in this category. But for whatever reason, the dates that they expected to move in never actually materialised, and then they were told later on, okay, we now expect that by the end of March, April, you will definitely be accommodated. And that didn't happen either. And then going back to the beginning of April, they were told, yes, there is some difficulties, there is some administration or some other unspecified difficulties, and in 8 weeks' time, we are certain you will be occupied. You will be able to move in. Now, that 8 weeks has come and gone, and several more weeks as well. And then they were told, okay, it will be the end of June. That's the date we're getting now, and hopefully by the end of June you will be able to move in. But unfortunately, I'm informed now that it may be the end of July before they can move in. And there's a pattern to this. I asked Dublin City Council what exactly is the problem, what is delaying it. They can't tell me. To a housing association, the voluntary cannot tell them. It goes back to the accommodations coming from NAMA. And NAMA are a difficult body to deal with because of the regulations they operate under. You can't really contact them, or if you do, you have to be careful about what you say, because you could be accused of lobbying and all that. But the point is, Cancorla, is that these families in my constituency, half a dozen, and there are 48 apartments, so there are other families right across the city who would be housed here as well, are still in emergency accommodation, in hostels, and waiting for units that are ready to be occupied. But for whatever reason, due to legal conveyancing or administration or whatever, or somebody just not getting on with it, they are still not occupied. And I think that's unacceptable.
Thank you, Deputy.
I take this on behalf of Minister John O'Sullivan, who's unavoidably delayed this afternoon. I thank Deputy Kenny for raising this matter, and I've listened with interest indeed to what he has said. The Department of the Environment continues to work closely and successfully with NAMA, the Housing Agency, local authorities and approved housing bodies in relation to delivery of social housing. To the end of Q1 this year, some 1,849 available units identified by NAMA have been confirmed by local authorities as being suitable for social housing, and some 684 units have been contracted or committed for social housing use. A further 451 properties are considered as being active transactions where terms are agreed or active negotiation is ongoing by all the parties concerned, or where a detailed appraisal, that is, determining the most likely delivery mechanism, is being carried out. An additional 702 properties are to be further appraised, signalling likely delivery in 2015 and 16. Some 367 units were delivered in 2013 alone, a significant increase on 2012. Updated information in relation to delivery of NAMA-sourced units is currently being finalised and will shortly be made available on the Housing Agency's website. Minister O'Sullivan has no statutory function in the allocation of tenancies, and she is precluded from intervening in the decisions made by housing authorities in the allocation of particular dwellings. However, the Department is working with TUA, NAMA, Dublin City Council, the Housing Agency, in order to expedite timely delivery of these units at Clare Village. It is important to note that the process engaged in with respect to the delivery of units at Clare Village involves a significant multi-unit transaction, and with this came the added complexity of getting agreement from a number of parties who, while fully committed to the process, are operating within an environment subject to a range of legal and financial challenges, including ensuring compliance with the Multi-Unit Development Act. Within this context, significant progress has been made, and I understand the contractual arrangements to secure these units for social housing, which involves the NAMA Special Purpose Vehicle, National Asset Residential Property Services Limited, are expected to be finalised shortly. Once that has been completed, the remaining lease agreements involving the various stakeholders, which are being progressed in parallel, can be completed. I understand that barring any unforeseen events, these units are expected to be made available for allocation in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Deputy.
Yeah, thank you, Cacola. I want to thank the Minister for coming into the House and giving me the reply. Really, I mean, I understand perfectly that the Minister has no role in the allocation of units, and that's not the issue that I was trying to raise. Because a decision has already been made in these cases to allocate them to a particular apartment units. I mean, the complexity of this kind of baffles me, because we're dealing with the multi-agency, Dublin City Council, NAMA, the Housing Agency, to Housing, who are a voluntary body. So you're 4 bodies, and then we're talking about a special purpose vehicle as well. So I mean, one gets baffled by the complexity of all of these bodies. There would appear to be some need for coordination. It's very difficult also to get a precise reason for the delay. I mean, I hope that what I'm hearing here is that there will be available in a couple of weeks, that finally comes to pass. But I'm sure, and I'm aware of other areas, other similar type of developments where there has been months and months delay as well in getting the thing finalised. And I would like to if we could get some kind of a more specific, detailed analysis of what exactly is the problem, what exactly is causing the delay, rather than getting all of this kind of stuff that I got before about its multi-unit developments and all the different agencies that are involved. I'd like to get something more specific in relation to the timescale as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I assure the Deputy that I'd be very happy to bring his comments and the assurances he's seeking in relation to the timeline, which isn't actually in the speech that I've been given, and I'll ask the Department will contact you urgently about that matter, and obviously clearly support the views that you have, and indeed the absolute intention of everybody concerned, notwithstanding the complexities, and particularly Minister O'Sullivan, to deliver these houses as quickly as possible. So I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you, Minister.